Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Computer Wednesday, we're going to talk about Galaxy Z Fold 4. So let's dive right into it. Now, this is rather very simple overview. It's a flagship. You don't think too much about it. You don't think about how much RAM it has. You don't think about how much memory it has. It's just flagship. Don't think too much about it. It's latest and greatest what Samsung can offer within the constraint of a folding architecture, because there are some physical limitation. It can't push magically beyond it. Now, it is also the only global folding smartphone at this point. Thus, there are alternatives. Majority of them are not available outside of China and Korea. So that creates a scenario where Samsung is becoming quote-unquote de facto leader, and their sales volume, meaning there is only like around 5 to 7 million folding devices. Majority of them are Samsung. So Samsung is like, bro, on a whole different league. They're playing on a whole different level. Now, what are they offering at Mark 4? Well, polish. They have reached a point where they are like the sole competitor. So they are like, rather than just trying to make the next big thing, they are like, how about we polish it? And it's a good approach. It is a boring approach, but it is good approach in terms of longevity of devices, because every time if you keep changing something, you will never have a time where it's like, what if I could have made it better? You don't. So it's a it's a good step to where you are like, okay, we have this, how about we polish it to nth degree, because that teaches you something unique. And it's much more refined and unique. Now, it's not that big of a deal from 3 to 4, but if you compare 1 to this, that's a very giant difference. Like, this was the Fold 1. So you get that point. Like, there have been some significant improvement, polish after polish. And what about 3 to 4? Not that much. Don't expect like, whoa. But like, because even SoC is more or less the same. So don't expect like, whoa. But what they have done is basically made the body as smaller as possible, around few percent, and displays bigger. I was like, wait a minute. How the heck you can make body smaller and display bigger? Is just border around it has become significantly smaller. Now, again, do not expect like whoa difference, but it's like, it is considerable. Like, especially if you are like, I want extra millimeters of display, yeah, go for Fold 4. But like, for the majority of people, Fold 3 would be more than good enough. And not to mention, chassis has been redesigned. Now, that's a very big deal, because this is a device you have to hold in a hand. You may be one of those people, it's like, you hold 3, I will never use it. You hold 4, this is mine. So that's a very big thing. It's a personal design choice, and Samsung has worked some serious elbow grease into this to making sure that it feels substantially different, because the angles have been changed. So what about the core upgrades? Well, core upgrade is Snapdragon 8 Gen basically upgraded variant, which is 4 nanometer. So what does it mean? That simply means better battery life and low heat generation. Now, you have to understand, Samsung, even though the Fold phone is thicker, if you open it up, each slice is much slimmer. That inherently means they have to put smaller cells into it. They have to put 2 small cells. So inherently, they do not have enough milliamp power. So only way they can get a very good battery life is just having the most efficient SoC, because display is huge compared to every other mobile phone. Display is huge. So it consumes a battery like basically tablet, while having a battery that is smaller than a basic mobile phone. So that's the biggest thing that they had to deal with. Now, improvement in under screen camera is the biggest thing. Meaning, if I give you 3 and 4, the first thing you will notice is this puppy. This is a Fold 3, this is Fold 4. Now, if you cannot change what is the big deal here, basically this blends in much more efficiently. Meaning, I have had experience of basically Z Fold 3, and Z Fold 3 had a scenario where it's like, if you are playing a video, if you're focused on the video, you will not forget like there is a notch and stuff, things of that nature. But this one is like, you will forget even if you're looking at it. Like, it can just like, if your eye refocuses, you will forget where this is. That's a very big jump. Now, yes, it is true that some other companies have achieved this sort of efficiency long ago, but Samsung is reaching here now. So that is a very big jump. So if you wanted, hey, I want my tablet to feel butter, this is your butter. And Gorilla Glass Victus at the end does not mean, it's just a bit better display protection. Does go up to 1 terabyte, which may be a very big deal for productivity people, simply because it does not have SD card storage slot. Again, not enough space. So 1 terabyte, going up to 1 terabyte is a desirable option. And now this is what the big deal is. Samsung, because they are moving enough units that now they have like talked with Google, and Google even understands it's like, yeah, this is the future. So they are like, Android 12L was specifically forked. Main core Android and Android L is forked to make a deal with large boys. Meaning Samsung is going to develop core tools, and they're going to try their best to make foldable a good experience. And Google, after 1 or 2 years, they will try to incorporate that upgraded features from Samsung into their core operating system. Google has has done this again and again. You would have noticed that base Google Android did not used to have too many features, but after now it's like, dude, there are so many features now. They have learned from other vendors. So Samsung is taking the leap forward because again they have the largest system. And the taskbar, because this is one thing you have to understand, mobile is inherently not designed to work as a desktop, but desktop is designed to work as a desktop, so you can do more things. And tablets, why Android tablet failed? Because there was no OS support for it. Meaning operating system, yeah, it's just a bigger display. Again, for entertainment, awesome. For reading and all that jazz, awesome. The moment you wanted to do something, it just felt like a mobile phone. So Samsung is like introducing taskbar. Now you're like, that's a very small change. It's a huge change if you want to do multitasking. That's a very huge change. How the heck you can do multitasking in your desktop? Because of taskbar. So that's a very small thing you may think, but overall impact on usability is tangibly huge. And given the fact that there is now a dedicated version of Android 12, because there are thousands of glitches, bugs that LTT has mentioned, and other people have mentioned, like this does not work or that does not work. But given the fact that now they're getting so much attention, there is a very good chance in the next 1 or 2 iterations or even updates, majority of the flaws will be fixed. And then you'll be like, no, now foldables are genuinely good experience. So what about the camera? Camera is a bit odd because they went ditched the approach of what they had in Fold 3. Fold 3 had an approach of like iPhone, basically 12 megapixel all cameras. Now they have 50 megapixel. Now like, wait a minute, why 50, not 100? Physical size, they do not have enough physical space to put giant lenses. So 50 megapixel, 12 megapixel, 10 megapixel, and 4 megapixel selfie. So selfie was the under screen camera, and be mindful, physics does not allow you to put more megapixel there, because yes, you can put more megapixel, but it will give you grainier image. It will give you much difficult image to process and crunch through. So you have to be limited by the SoC's AI capabilities. If your AI capability is very high, yeah, put higher megapixel, but realistically not really usable. So they generally settle at 4 megapixel. Now if you're like, hey, you have to understand what Samsung is trying to do. Samsung is trying to do is under screen camera first, meaning that whole system is screen first. It should look a good screen first, then it's like, yeah, it can also act as a camera. That's the first thing. And if you're like, hey, I'm a selfie queen, I want to do as much selfies, use this. That's the whole point of having a 2 display system. You just unfold it and use badass cameras. At that point in time, it will bitch slap any other selfie camera systems. So that's the whole intent of use. If you want to do selfie, just use a slimmer phone and get full framing, everything that you need to do, and enjoy it. Don't think too much about it. And the 4 megapixel under screen is just a show off technology for their Samsung semiconductor division. It's like, yeah, look at us. And then for people who want to do like, video conferencing, that is more than good enough. So it's that kind of requirement, because it will look literally out of 2010. The output from that 4 megapixel selfie is that. Main camera is very good for what it's supposed to do, but don't compare this puppy to S22 Ultra. So it's good. It's not like, whoa, it's good. Again, I specified there is physical depth limitation. They cannot make the camera bump huge, because again, people who are buying S22 basically folds, they do care about design. So what about the performance? Well, it's very simple. Same SoC, same kind of polish. It's more or less the same. You don't have to think too much about it. If you have used any 8 series phones, basically with same SoC, you will get the similar kind of performance. But battery life will be weak, because physics does not allow you to just cram magical batteries that have more milliamp hour. So fundamentally, that's the weak part of it. And the camera is also not bad, but also not great. You have to go to S22 Ultra in Samsung if you want the best camera experience, what Samsung can offer. So again, physical limitations, they can't do much to it. However, Samsung has improved recently. I've been using Samsung from very long ago. How long ago? Samsung C100. Google what that phone was. So I know Samsung is very bad reputation, was like, never updating it. So now they are updating. I have Samsung F62 and it's getting updates. So fundamentally, it's a very good approach. And because of the cost of this sort of devices, they are like 4 years of OS update. That's a very big commitment. And 5 years of security update. That's a really good. At that point in time, it's touching iPhone systems. It's like flat out touching iPhone systems. So that's a really good commitment from Samsung. And then proper software upgrades have been done for usability, not just like, okay, work on a big screen. No. How about, can you open 2 tabs? Like, think of this like Chrome. How many tabs do we have open inside it? That's the whole point. So it's not just like, okay, work on it. No. How about you use the goddamn huge screen? How about you design it in such a way that you can multitask properly, copy paste from A to B, taskbar, all that jazz. So they have worked in usability, not just like, that's why having Mark 4 matters. Mark 1, get it working. Mark 2, actually make sure that it works. Mark 3, okay, now it works efficiently. Mark 4, how about we utilize it more? So That's the whole point. And chip shortage may have played a role because many people are like a bit underwhelmed from it. It's like, dude, why your speed charging is not that more improved? SoC is like good, but not like whoa. It's like nothing is like whoa. Why the heck there is no whoa factor? There could be a chance that chip shortage played a role. Specifically, the fact that why the heck they went down from 12 megapixel telephoto to 10. That sounds odd. So there could be a chip shortage issue here. So for whom this kind of phone is made here? Now, let me be very clear. If you say this phone is super expensive, waste of money and all that, just it's not for you. Fundamentally, it's not for rich people. It's for really rich people. So many times we had this observation, and many times people do that, specifically in different countries, not in USA, because every Tom, Dick and Harry in USA has iPhone. So for them, it's like it's a basic bitch phone. For developing countries, for countries that are growing now, like for example China and India, iPhone is a status symbol. Now unfortunately, because iPhone inherently is just a basic mobile phone, it's starting to create too much audience. Now consequence of that audience is like, imagine the value of Rolex if every Tom, Dick and Harry can have it. It's not gonna be Rolex anymore. So that's the whole point. iPhone is no longer commanding the same respect it used to back in the day. Back in the day, it's like, dude, you have iPhone. Now it's like, eh. And here's the sad part is, I've seen people who have literally took out loans. I'm not joking, like actual loans to buy a goddamn mobile phone. I'm like, no, just no. And then they will justify, oh, this phone will work for 8 years. Would you want to use a 8-year-old iPhone? Try it, please try it. It's like, please try it. Just try to use it. It's like, oh, this works. I don't do anything on it. Then why are you buying iPhones? It's like, this is one of those things that like they hurt themselves so much for just to show off. And then they're like, there is amazing documentaries like, how Chinese students are getting stuck in this debt trap, and majority of them getting stuck because of this. So that gets to issue where iPhone is no longer exclusive, and people who are really rich, they have nothing to show for it. And Samsung is like, I got you, fam. And because Samsung does not have that posh feeling to it, people will not just pay for it. It's not Rolex, where Rolex can ask for basic chronographs, they can ask whatever they want to, but people will be willing to pay. But Samsung would not get that. So Samsung created a fold architecture. Now that fold architecture really has uniqueness where people are like, you know what, I'll pay for it. So that's the whole point. Nobody is buying Samsung Fold in debt, and it's exclusive, fundamentally exclusive. You can have many people who have S22 Ultra. It does sell a lot, but again, Fold is very rare. I went to one of my family's festival. Way too many people had iPhone. Only one relative had Fold. And you can assume who was the richest one. So that's the whole point of it. There is a whole aspect of a phone showing like, mine's bigger. So this puppy is like, mine's bigger than yours, like really bigger than yours. So that's the whole aspect of it. Phone is a status symbol, whether you like it or not. It is a status symbol, but how do you show it? Fold. And people who have that kind of money, generally they are not interested in taking selfies and all that jazz. So they're like, dude, it's just a device. And not to mention, for those sort of people, emailing is a very big deal. And it's like, shut up and take my money. So it's a very big win from Samsung's point of view to create an exclusive system. And it's also for those who like cutting edge technology, because at this point in time, if you are above middle class and you are really growing financially, this sort of cost is not that high. Yeah, if you're poor like me, then it's a different thing. But if you are growing, it's like, yeah, this is basic bitch stuff, not a big deal. So in those sort of, if you really want cutting edge, you can buy that. And it truly uniqueness is not just another black slab. That's also a desirable aspect for many people. It's like people are tired, just like black slab. Like turn off all your phones, put it on a table. Can people figure out which is the iPhone? Very few people will. Like some people, no, the edges are like this, and only a nerd cares about that. Most people are like, dude, just a phone, just a black slab. This is at least a big black slab. And when you fold it, okay, it's a fat black slab. So it has some uniqueness to it. It has some like, mine's bigger than yours. Even in conference that I was in, Delhi conference, only 1 or 2 people had the, bank balance to afford this. That's the easy way to show. Everybody had iPhone, only few people had this. So that was a very tangible, like, mine's bigger than yours. And it's really good for Samsung, and even good for us. Now, like, why the heck it's good for poor people? Well, this is how every technology comes to become cheaper. Remember how expensive mobile phone used to be back in the days? Like how much it used to cost? Now it's cheap. Why? Because enough rich people took the risk on it. That's why it like started an ecosystem. That ecosystem created mass production. That mass production drive down the price, and now we all have mobile phones. So same thing will happen with this. It's a desirable thing. So this was my presentation on Samsung Galaxy Fold 4. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.